Welcome to the first episode of 2021,
We made it.
the WMMA Today podcast with Drake Riggs and his nifty little suspenders and bow tie, and then me, Steve, in my jumper. On this episode, we are dressed up because it's award shows, and that will be at the end of the show. RIZIN 26 recap is first, and then some news, a little bit of news, not much going on, and nothing to talk about as far as fights. So that's why we are doing awards this week. Let's get started with the RIZIN 26 recap, where Ayaka Hamasaki beat Mayu Yamamoto by head scissors in the first round. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. This was just phenomenal. Feels like forever ago, as I was telling you off air, that this happened just last week, but a lot has been happening. Ayaka Hamasaki, though, just further establishing herself as one of the GOATs and the GOAT of the atomweight division, in my opinion. Incredible to pull this off in the fashion she did in less than 2 minutes against somebody like Miyu. Of all submissions, and we will potentially, not to spoil anything, we might be talking about this later. Ayaka, who had a pretty good 2020 reclaiming her title and everything, which she lost last New Year's and was able to pick up again this New Year's, or this past New Year's, right? So, she's amazing, man. I just, right from the get-go, once Miyu went for that takedown, she went for the single, Ayaka goes, and her defense and counter to the takedown is her going on the offensive, goes right for the arm, gets it in position to eventually get to a Kimura, but just as they continue to transition and go to the ground, slowly weaves her way into this ridiculous position to pull off a head scissors of all things. And once they rolled into that, where Ayaka was going for maybe turning the Kimura into an arm bar, she found Miyu's head right between her legs and was looking to pop it off. So just insane. She's only getting better as she gets older, just like Miyu. But I mean, Ayaka has been around, for years now and has been racking up just creating this incredible legacy. And she's only looking better and more dangerous as time has gone on, right? So it's really insane and special to watch somebody like her just keep doing what she's doing.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, she's like she's a certified badass. Who the hell finishes a fight with a head scissors? That's fucking wild. That's a wild finish. But also, that's what you get when you watch RIZIN. Like, things happen in RIZIN that don't happen in other MMA promotions. We've seen some pretty great knockouts in MMA this year. That is up there with the best MMA knockouts of the year. Male, female, doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. That was one of the best finishes of the year.
Yep, could not agree more, and that's why maybe we'll see. We might talk about it later. We will see what happens. But Ayaka Hamasaki, man, just I really cannot say enough good things about her in this performance. Only become more and more of a finisher as the years have passed. Just going from the deep scene in the Smack Girl and everything earlier in her career to Invicta, then to RIZIN and everything. Just crazy journey, and I think that finally, it's kind of sad that finally people are starting to finally, give her as much appreciation and respect as she deserves. But sometimes you got to take the long road, and she is without a doubt one of the best fighters ever, and it's just crazy to watch. I can't say it enough. So excited to see whoever she gets next. But I tell you, man, I don't think anybody is going to beat her that's not named So Hee Hum. And then even in their trilogy fight, You could argue that Ayaka should have won that one, but either way, nobody's going to make it close. I don't think Ayaka's looking that good, so
Yeah, it's
tough.
pretty cool to see her grow as a fighter. Like she just keeps getting better and better. And I mean, this was ended in the first round. We didn't see much from her. A minute and a half, a little over a minute and a half into the fight, and I mean, we didn't see much. And she's just her progression as an MMA fighter is amazing. It's been an amazing thing to see and to watch.
Yep, absolutely has. And I really the only thing that was like bad for her was Miyu landed like one good punch early on. That was about it though.
Literally the that little first flurry that she threw.
Yeah.
But that was it. The fight ended at 142. I mean, there wasn't much that could happen, you know?
Yeah.
It went to the ground pretty quickly.
As we expected, it probably needed to, you know, for Miyu. But then this is what we were talking about. The threats are just there everywhere with Ayaka, and I mean, she could not have made us look any better with our predictions because of all things that she pulls off. You're like, all right, yeah, she is definitely fucking dangerous everywhere. Like, it's insane.
Literally everywhere. She's dangerous everywhere.
She is something else. Ayaka Hamasaki, the GOAT, everybody. But we will move on to the other fight that I forgot to put on the other fight on here, but we'll go to the one that happened before this, which was I'm assuming the number one contender fight, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Kana Asakura beat Shimizu. It was a really entertaining fight. Kana Asakura won via unanimous decision. I had some really good moments in that fight where I was very pleased. I was pleased with both of them. It was a really entertaining fight. Like what we were saying last week, either of them could be next for the super atomweight title. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Asakura at this point, right?
Yeah, no, I think that it has to be 4 fights in a row. She arguably could have gotten the title shot over Miyu against Ayaka for their rematch on this event. But, you know, Miyu was the last person to beat Kana relatively recently. I think that was like the start of last year, maybe. Whenever it wasn't super long ago. So Miyu getting the title shot, I think, was fine. But, you know, Kana absolutely deserves it, even though some people didn't think that this was like the best performance to do it. But 4 fights in a row, and the only other person would be Rena. And then, as we've talked about, even last week and everything, Rena and Ayaka, very close. That's probably not happening unless Rena wants to retire or whatever, unless something changes, right? Unless something changes soon, which that is a prediction that I am making, but I don't think it'll be next. I think if we see that, it'll probably be later on in this year. It's got to be Kana. This fight was, it wasn't at all Kana's best performance, but I don't think that was a knock on her. It was more of, you know, a detriment of the styles making the fight here, and I just coming in and, you know, doing what she does. And she started off a little bit slow. Kana was working her a bit in the striking, nothing too crazy, but, you know, outpointing her and everything. And then as the fight went on, second round and then most of the third round was where things got very interesting in the grappling exchanges. And for me, dude, this fight came down to the wire, like the final 20 seconds. Yeah. You remember when Kana she had that opening to land hammer fists, and she landed like 15 of them that were pretty hard. And I was like, oh, that's taking it from me. This was like, I was leaning towards if like no damage was done in that moment, because she had a lot of control in the last 2 rounds. But then Kana just inched by with the damage she landed with those. So a very, very close fight, I thought, overall. And, you know, people didn't think it was that great, but I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was just a styles clash that was very interesting. You got to consider their backgrounds, you know, both very good wrestlers. And they, for the most part, one wasn't like super duper superior over the other. I would have given the edge to as I just mentioned, you know, but a very close fight overall. So,
yeah, I don't I don't know about the fight not being entertaining or whatever, because I was entertained by it. I thought that I did a hell of a job, man. Like she really made Kana look not not far superior than her. If she even was, I don't know. Like you said, you maybe I won that fight. I don't know. Um, I didn't really judge it. I just watched. Um, Kana looked good too, though. So I'm not mad at the decision for I wouldn't be mad if they went to I or to Kana. It wouldn't. I would have been like, okay, you know, it would have
Yeah.
been fine. It would have been fine if they would have went to I too. But they didn't. They went to Kana Sakura, and now I think that she should be fighting for the title next in March, I guess. Hopefully,
Yeah,
is that too
I
soon? Because then when do they go again? In July?
well, I'm assuming I haven't heard anything yet from anybody or anything like that inside sources or anything, but I would imagine that we will have an event in between now and March because March is the big Tokyo Dome card, right? That's going to
Right.
be a
That's at
monster.
the Tokyo Dome. Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're
that's going to
gonna save.
be a
You
big
would
deal.
think that they would save the title fights for that that card inside the Tokyo Dome. You know,
Yeah.
there's going to be so many people. There are going to be so many people viewing that that card. I'm assuming if they're at the Tokyo Dome, they're going to have a they're going to be able to have a lot of people in attendance, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, because RIZIN fans are Japanese MMA fans are just far superior to any kind of MMA fan around the world. They're very they keep quiet, you know, but they applaud at the right times, and you know they get cheery at the right times. They're not assholes. They're not wooing and booing and throughout the whole card. You know, we like what you would hear at a UFC event. Or even Bellator. I mean, you hear it less, I think, in Bellator, but
Yeah.
at UFC events, there's a shit ton of imbeciles that go to those cards. And Japanese MMA, they're not stupid fans. They're incredibly intelligent. They have they've been able to see the best, literally the best, go through Japan.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, and it's funny just to touch on like the crowds and everything because for Ryzen 26, they were a lot more quiet than usual. I thought, they were being very,
They, they were incredibly quiet, yeah. But I mean, all like what I was saying, but that's just how they are.
yeah,
That's how Japanese Asian MMA fans are. Unless if you go to like Muay Thai events, then it's really loud and you know it's cool. It's different. Muay Thai is very different though.
yeah,
It's not an MMA atmosphere. It's Muay Thai is a fucking party.
yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, this was just to circle back and everything. Yeah, I think that Ayaka versus Kana that rematch is definitely the one to make. Um,
Yeah.
I think it'll probably look different than the first one, but I don't know by how much. They've both Kana very clearly has improved plenty since that first fight, but so has Ayaka, as we've been touching on here and just seen. Um, I just as much as I love Kana and Ayaka, I don't see Ayaka being beaten, man, until we see her really tested, like against somebody like Ham, because everybody else has just been ran through.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna be what's the word I'm looking for? Unseated,
Well,
dethroned.
okay, so if Asakura show is the same that we saw last week against the same um,
Ayaka.
Ayaka that we saw last week, Ayaka just runs through her. just like what she did against Miyu.
Yeah, and the first fight essentially between them.
Yeah, yep. But I mean, kind of look good, and we gotta say again, I looked good in that fight.
Yeah,
Really,
no,
really
definitely.
good in that fight. And she
Yeah,
deserved all the props.
yeah, this is only her first loss too, so like not a bad performance to have and person to lose to. Like she was in
No,
a very win-win situation for Ai.
yeah, Kana Sakura is not a terrible loss on your record. It really isn't a terrible loss on your record. So welcome, Stamina, and then Stephen Ray said,
Steven.
have always appreciated Japan's entire approach to combat sports, whether that be the fans or fighters themselves.
Yep.
Absolutely, it's not even like it. Like I was saying, it's not even close. Like they're so smart and they respect the sport, or they respect martial arts in general. It's just, it's crazy. Like when you think about the respect that Japan has for the sport, for martial arts, and then you go to like a card in Rio de Janeiro where they're literally chanting, "You're gonna die."
They have the ultimate respect for their people, but not the others.
But if you're not Brazilian, you're fucked.
Exactly.
And then yes, Muay Thai and Lethwei events are nuts. They're fucking. The most fun that I've had at a combat sports event was a Lethwei event in Bangkok. It was amazing. It was
Jeez,
fucking,
that sounds perfect.
dude, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was fucking. I had never really seen. I had seen Lethwei before, but never really paid attention to it. And then I got dragged to go to this event. Got dragged. I was not very happy to go because I was hungover and stuff. But I went and had an amazing time, and it was fucking cool. Like it was crazy. Like I said, it was a party. It was so loud and like it was amazing. Saw a lot of blood. Like there were some crazy ass gnarly headbutts and like some shit that I've never seen before. You know, while I'm watching fucking normal ass MMA at home, I go over there and I'm seeing some crazy ass shit. You know, it was amazing.
Jealous.
I know. So
I agree with Stamina on that comment there.
I've always appreciated Japan's approach to damn near everything. One of my favorite places on earth. Unfortunately, I've never been to Japan. Shit, Drake went and lived there.
China. I went to China.
Oh, yeah, you went to China.
Yet to go to Japan.
Yeah, I've never been to Japan. I've never been to China, but I've been all over Asia. What happens when you're in the military? But never been to Japan, which sucks.
We'll get there. We got time.
No, dude, we keep talking about like going to a RIZIN event. Now that you're doing
It's gonna happen.
these RIZIN, yeah, exactly. Now that you're doing these RIZIN, all these RIZIN interviews and shit, you got to get us in there.
I know. I was looking at stuff for the March one. We'll see if at the next New Year's one, hopefully at the least.
Dude,
Either of those.
I want to go. I want to
Either
go.
of
We've
those.
talked about this a lot before. You know, not on air and stuff. We've
Yeah.
talked about it before. Yeah, that would be fucking amazing to go to a RIZIN event.
Indeed. It
No,
would.
I do not recall. I was like I said, it was bad. I was hungover. It was bad. I don't recall who I saw fight. Unfortunately, no clue.
What do you think of the new little design I put on here with the comments? Do you notice that?
Oh yeah, I do. I like how it's the smaller script.
It fits nicely. Yeah.
If it's better, yeah. Waleed, welcome, says
Welcome.
the worst fans are the fans on a Conor McGregor card booing whenever a fight goes to the ground. Yeah, so Conor McGregor brings out the worst MMA fans because they're not real MMA fans. They're Conor McGregor fans, and they don't know shit about MMA. But they are fun to be around.
They're
They
a party. They're just
they
a party.
fun to be around. Yes, they might not be the most educated and smart MMA fans in the world, but they're fun. Fun as fuck.
Everybody's on board for the scrap pack to RIZIN. Love it. Love it.
Let's go. Let's go. Damn.
Would be fantastic. Yeah, you guys, those were the two super atomweight fights that we had, but I completely blanked on putting the other one on here for some
The
reason.
17-year-olds. Did you watch it? I didn't see that fight.
So I didn't get to watch it live because I didn't realize that it wasn't going to be shown on the English stream. So it was shown on the Japanese stream for people like 50 minutes before the official start with Minnow Man and everything, but it's on YouTube now. Of course, you guys can go check it out, and I have watched it. It's only like a minute 40, just like the main event, but Sakura Mori versus Eru Takabayashi. It was actually very impressive, man. Like, they looked pretty damn sharp for only both being 17. Like, I was very impressed, particularly Takabayashi in the striking. And Sakura's striking looked all right too, but Takabayashi stood out to me. And then once Sakura got her down, butter. Her grappling was smooth, man, and wound up getting the rear naked. I believe maybe it was an armbar. It was an armbar or rear naked. I can't remember which one she transitioned to, but yeah, they both have some very legit promise for being only 17, man. And the fight was at a catch weight of 12, but of course Sakura missed weight by maybe it was 1 or 2 pounds, I think. But either way, she missed weight. So yeah, so officially she doesn't get the win because that's how the rules work over there. So no contest and 50% of her purse, which I really like that rule. A lot of people think it's too harsh, but hey, that's why you make the weight and weight cut.
It's 30% in the UFC. 30%. I mean, that's not. Sometimes that's not large enough because a lot of people don't take the weight cutting as seriously as they should. If they were to lose 50% of their earnings, that's a big fucking hit, dude. I would be
That's
pissed.
why we never see weight misses in RIZIN or like most Japanese promotions. Like, people are like, I'm gonna either fight at a weight where I know I can make it, or I'm gonna fucking make it.
Because 50% of your earnings, dude. Could you imagine? Here you go. I'm gonna fight you, but here's 50% of my.
And then you can't even technically win.
Yeah, and if I lose, or whatever, dude, you lost. Plus, you lost 50% of your earnings. What the fuck? Like, fuck this shit.
I like it. I think it's been working, I would say, historically.
Well, it works in Japan. Yeah, it works in Japan.
Yeah. So, either way, a good no contest for Sakura. Hopefully, she can, she'll figure it out. She's young. I don't think you can
super young.
knock her too much, but
I mean,
they both looked very promising. I would recommend checking that out, you guys. It's on the YouTube channel, the RIZIN YouTube channel. The whole event's on there now, so if you didn't watch it, recommend. It was fun as always. So yeah, that was our lone event to close out the weekend. And Steven coming in here.
So Steven said, as professional athletes, they have an obligation to make the contracted weight 20%. UFC standards are nowhere near enough. RIZIN's approach is harsh, but necessary.
Fully agree.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's, for sure. It is harsh. Like 50%. Fuck, dude. Like, we hate getting taxes taken out of our paychecks. Could you imagine 50% being taken away from you?
And I imagine that they probably were on the lower side of the pay scale compared to everybody else.
So, I mean, how much are they getting paid at 17 years old?
I believe they were pro bout. It was a professional bout, though. So, they definitely did get paid, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But All right, let's move it on. We do have some news this week, you guys. Just
A little
three
bit.
bits, two fights, and one cancellation of sorts, which Steve will be really excited about that one. But
I'm
let's get
not
into it.
excited. I'm
I
not
know,
necessarily
I know.
excited
We'll
about
save it. We'll save it.
Okay, yeah.
The first one, though.
I was gonna start
Yep,
going.
yep.
You know. All right, so Julia Avila is gonna take on Julija Surilenko on March 20th. This March 20th card, it seems like it's really turning into a fun card. I have that date in my mind. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's on that card. Let me look really quick because it is like for some reason it's getting etched in my mind.
I think that it's the Nunez and Megan card. I think.
Is that March 20th?
I think so. It's. I know that fight's on a March event. That's all I know.
Brunson and Holland.
Ah.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is because I'm a big Holland fan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland, and then there's the Cheyenne Buys and Kay Hansen fight as well. We literally
Okay.
just talked about that last week
It broke when we were live.
when we were live, right? Yeah. So, but I think it's Kevin Holland, you know?
Right, right. But yeah, this fight though, man, I love it. I think this is a very fun, a fight that has plenty of potential to be fun. Good stylistic matchup here. I am incredibly high on Julia Avila, have been, pretty much since her career began. Stolyarenko has really turned things around since the Ultimate Fighter, finding her footing at bantamweight, ended up becoming the Invicta champion in one of the most under the radar, overshadowed fights of 2020, because if you remember that fight with Lisa Versosa took place the day before Weili versus Joanna, which terrible timing, because that was the bloodiest fucking fight I've ever seen. One of the best fights ever for the women. And unfortunately, just bad timing. People forgot about it because of what happened the day after. Reasonable, but Stolyarenko and Versosa, hell of a fight if you have not seen it. Then, of course, she came in on Shortskaya in her last fight to get back in the UFC. Or, no, she did technically have a UFC debut, if I'm remembering, against Leah Letson, if I'm remembering correctly, but got back now, of course. And Yana is Yana. Yana's very good and was able to shut her down pretty well. This fight here, I kind of agree with what Steven is saying here in the comments. A little bit hard to pick Stolyarenko. Very tricky ground game, but ultimately he feels that Avila will be too much for her. Yeah, that aggression, that in that pace that Avila puts on people, just get in your face and beat the shit out of you, whether it's on the ground or standing in the pocket against the cage. That is hard to overcome, and we saw Sajara was able to be the only person that's ever been able to do that so far. And she's got, I think, a better skill set to handle Avila, obviously, compared to Stolyarenko. Stolyarenko at distance and in tight, she is dangerous, but just with the type of pressure Avila puts on you and that just relentlessness, gonna be tough. But Julija has proven to be very dangerous with those arm bars on the ground and everything. So she could definitely snatch something up, and she has some very nice elbows in tight. It's going to be fun, man. I think this is going to be a very, very wild fight. But, of course, I'm going to edge it to Julia here. Avila, the Raging Panda, early on in these predictions. But yeah. I like both of these fighters. So.
Yeah. It's going to be a good fight. As Steven said here, fun fact, Stolyarenko won a world title in left weight. That explains how she hung in there for the Versosa win.
Fight was nuts.
She's just... she welcomes the pain. It's pretty wild. The fights that she puts on. She gives zero fucks, dude.
Yeah, man.
But that has to be the mindset, especially against a girl like Avila. Avila's a monster.
She doesn't give any fucks either.
She's a monster, dude. So yeah, I'm with you on early Avila. And I mean, that's probably not going to change.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably not, but you know.
I mean, what could change our mind about that?
Yeah. But I like it, and it's just one of those where it sucks one of them has to lose. But hey, that's a fighting thing. That's what happens. So we'll be good. I like it. Good. There are some good matchups to be made at bantamweight, and it's good to have Stoliarenko in the mix
Yeah,
here. So
yeah. Bantamweight has kind of been,
a little stagnant for a bit.
yeah, a little bit, but Avila is ranked number 15. So if Jalesia wins, then she'll be ranked.
Yeah, and similar to Ai's loss to Kana, no shame in Stoliarenko losing to Yana. So
Right.
Yana and Kana, how funny is that? So
Yeah.
moving along to potential Steve rants as we avoided stamina. Don't worry, here we go. Maybe. So take it away, sir.
Okay, so the cockroach, Betch Crea, is undergoing surgery to remove her appendix. Um, she's out of the fight against Yang Wu, and hopefully this is the last time that we ever see her again. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm sure Stamina does because he watches every week. But I'm not a big fan of Betch Crea. I think she sucks. Um, she doesn't entertain me whatsoever. I hate her dancing. I hate her face. Um, yeah, she's crap. Crap.
Dude, like didn't we predict that this was going to happen though, that she was going to
Yeah.
milk it? She was going to milk
Yeah.
it some, even though she is 100% having surgery. There's pictures
Okay.
of her in the hospital and all
Yeah,
that.
like you can't dispute that she's having her fucking appendix removed.
Yeah. We're not
Like, I
doing
mean-
conspiracies here.
Yeah, we're not doing conspiracies, but I mean, she still sucks.
Well, I mean, they did finally release her, but it was a generosity re-signing. We knew that, and
Yeah,
I
ended
think
up
I think it was
bringing her back.
it was because she said that she was going to retire for her next fight. Which that was the thing. That was the thing that I was saying, was that I bet you she's not. She's going to hope to get a win, and
Yeah.
then she'll stick around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just how MMA retirements work. And if, especially in this case, when they cut her and then bring her back specifically for this, I would imagine there's no other reason when she points that out so blatantly. It's just such a ridiculous situation.
She just cockroached her way back in to the UFC. Like it. So Steven said, Betch Crea is not a nice person, to say the least. Pretty poor skill set. She sucks compared against her division. Hate to say it, I don't, about a pro fighter, but yeah, she sucks. I don't talk a lot of crap about fighters like sucking because I mean,
She's pretty much the only one, at least that I can think of off the top of my head.
yeah, like there's just this dismay for me. Like she just really bothers me for I don't know. I think it was probably like it was the Ronda Rousey thing, big Ronda Rousey fan. So, and again, I get why people hate Ronda. So, but I don't like her.
Oh, Waleed, he's got the comment of 2021 right here.
Oh, come on.
You just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, I'm not even.
Steven, it's like, that's true. Nuna has been ducking her for years now.
Yeah, for
there we
years.
go.
For so long. For so long.
Oh, Stamina. That's a great comment too.
That's the true GOAT right there.
You see this
MMA
one?
retirements are like character deaths in the MCU. Yeah. They just don't fucking go away.
They just don't go away. But hopefully Betch will soon. That's the big takeaway here. This sucks for Yan and Wu more than anything. She
Yeah.
is out of a fight now.
She's an up and comer. She's a prospect. She's a true prospect. And she could have made a name off of her.
Yeah, I was going to pick her to win that fight, even though people were saying this was tailor-made for Betch, which an easier fight for Betch, no doubt, but
She sucks, though.
I still
Like
think Wu-
exactly what Steven said. Her skill set is terrible. It's fucking piss poor. Piss poor skill set. She doesn't have any skills. She's terrible, dude.
Ringing in the new year. Oh boy, Artem Lobov, Betchgray, and Dennis Siever, the three
Yeah,
goats.
the three goats.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think that's a little bit disrespectful to Dennis. Honestly, he's a little bit better than them.
Well, he
I would
did
say
beat Conor McGregor.
he did beat Conor McGregor. Dennis Siever. Yes, that is crazy too.
I
This
know.
this right here.
Yeah, I still find it crazy that Betch main evented that Singapore card against Holm.
That was a complete and blatant uh r- rebound setup for Holly, and
Yeah,
she didn't even perform the way she
she
should have.
didn't do
That was
shit.
one of the worst fights of all time.
Yeah, she didn't do shit.
That was
Um,
one of I did a list for What Culture, the only article I did for What Culture actually last year, and it was a list of the top 5 worst fights with highlight reel finishes. That might have been number 1, but that fight just dreadful. Herb had to, if you remember, Herb had to say, guys, you're gonna fight like more
you guys
action. There was
gotta go. Yeah, it was kind of it was before Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis. Poor Herb.
if there wouldn't have been a finish in that fight.
Dude, Herb has been through some fucking terrible fights. Like now that you think about it, he's a really good referee. But
Oh,
he's
that's
been
up for
through
debate.
okay, so he has some mishaps like every other referee, but he's a good referee, dude.
I don't want to get into this. I'm not big on Herb. Not big on Herb. Let's move it
Yeah,
along. It is about award
that
time,
was,
anyways.
that was terrible. That event was
Oh,
decent
yeah.
as a whole. Although Holm lost a round to Betch, we got to see RDA's welterweight debut against Saffron. Yeah,
Oh, the sponge. Throwback to the sponge, man. That guy. That's one of those fighters. Just I'm getting sidetracked here with the sponge memories, but I wish he would have done better. He was fun to watch in his prime. He had that awesome debut against Hyunggu Lim, which was kind of weird matchmaking at the time, but that fight was wild. So yeah, shout out to Tarek Safadine, the only Belgian. Was he Belgian fighter in UFC history? So somewhere
he's
over
the,
there.
he-
I think so. I think it was Belgian.
he's the only he's the only Belgiumese.
Yes. Yeah. I think
Is that,
I think it
is that
would
what it's
just be a
called?
Belgian.
Belgian.
Moving on. We got one more bit of news. Back to Japan.
Yeah, Shizuku Sugiyama versus Kiriyama at Deep 100. I didn't even realize that Deep had a card coming up. To be honest,
Yeah, their first card of the year. I think that they started announcing fights like on the first or the day after RIZIN, so I guess it would have been our 31st. But
mm,
yeah, this card has Juri Ohara and Kitaoka on it. There's a couple interesting matchups on there, and then this one added as well, which I will admit I don't think much of an interesting matchup because it's kind of similar to Sugiyama's last fight, which was a bit of a weird one on paper and everything. But Shizuka Sugiyama, of course, a veteran and one of the better flyweights in the world. I'd say she's top 25, top 20 for sure. For sure, top 25. I think that's pretty easy to say. I mean, she's only lost to Kana Watanabe in her last, like, a lot of fights. Let's see. I got her record up here, actually. She's only lost to Kana Watanabe since 2014. So, I mean, she beats pretty much everybody that she's supposed to beat. But the problem is with Shizuka and just flyweight in Japan is that there's not that many, you know, there's not that many fighters at flyweight, really. The higher up you get past strawweight, even, they're just mostly smaller. And that's kind of the reason that, Kana's had trouble finding opponents until she's been now signed to Bellator, which is the best thing for her. Because really the only person left for Kana to fight was Rin Nakai. And, we should see Sugiyama versus Rin Nakai if possible, but Rin Nakai is notoriously very difficult to work with, and who knows if she will ever fight again. But
that's
yeah, there's
sad.
just very few limited options at flyweight in Japan, so it kind of sucks for her. And would love to see her come over to the UFC or Bellator too, because she'd be a very good addition. But in this case, it's the same old with what we've seen from her matchups recently because Suzuka Sugiyama, 19-6-1, Kuriyama. This is going to be her fourth fight. She's 2-1. There's just a big gap there because it's hard to find similar experienced opponents. And it was kind of the same case with who was it? Mika Arai, who Sugiyama took on in her last fight, which Mika was actually a short notice replacement who fought atomweight. If you remember, she's an atomweight normally. So like they are scraping for opponents for Sugiyama, which bummer for her, but at least she's getting to fight. Because she's always fun to watch and definitely she's pretty fucking popular in Japan, dude. Like her YouTube channel is very big. It's kind of crazy. So I would think that Bellator should swoop in there if UFC doesn't. Either one of them. She knows English too, so there's nothing. There's no reason not to. I don't know. It's weird. It's
she
weird.
should come. She should come out west for sure. She would be a star, I think, out here.
Yeah, definitely very likable personality. She was born in the States, so I mean,
like you said, she has a huge YouTube presence. She has a ton of followers on there. She puts out really cool videos too. So I mean,
yeah,
she's fun. She's fun. Not just as a fighter, but like as a person. So she would do really well out here, I think.
Yeah. So hopefully she she can win this fight, which I'd be very surprised if she doesn't. No offense to Kuriyama, it's just an experience difference. It's just how it is. Win this fight and then hopefully get an opportunity this year. She's not getting any younger. So we will see. But Shizuka Sugiyama is back, everybody. So that's always worth taking notes.
So before we wrap up the news, did you see or hear Dana White saying that he would be down for the atomweight?
I did see this. Yes, I did.
That's big news, dude.
Yeah, I agree that is definitely very interesting to hear, but it's one of those things where I'm sure that we have talked about it a couple times. I mean, I feel like I've talked about it a whole bunch now, and I actually just shameless plug just did a video about this with Pat over at the Body Lock. So check that out. You guys should probably be coming out this week over there. But we talked about this, and it's very interesting because I just feel like it's such a tease. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, okay. So the thing about it is, I mean, how much I take a grain of salt with whatever Dana White says. I don't believe him for shit. I don't believe him for a damn thing. So I would be really hyped if Scott Coker opened up and said, okay, I'm really thinking about the atomweight division, because then Scott Coker would actually fucking do it. Whereas Dana White, he can say whatever. He says whatever, whatever. And I can't believe him until it's actually happens in front of us. But again, it's like, fuck, do we really want that division? Because we've seen what happens with the women's featherweight division, where I know there are more atomweights. There are more, but they would have to go fishing for them. They would literally have to go to Asia to find the best atomweights. The best
if they want to have a good division, they would have to pick from over there.
Exactly. The best atomweights are not here. They're not around here. Alicia Zapatella is here in America. She's the Invicta champion. She's not the best atomweight that there is, though. Invicta has a good atomweight division. They're fun, a lot of fun, but they're not the best. The best are in Asia.
Yeah, no, definitely. They would have some good pieces to pick from Invicta, of course, and this has kind of been the case for a while and everything, but it wouldn't be enough if you were just to bank off of taking from Invicta or something like that. You would have to, of course, go overseas if you want to really make a division that you can claim is the best atomweight in the world, like best atomweight division in the world, or if you if you have the best atom weight in the world, which, first of all, nobody's going to believe that the UFC has the best atom weight champion in the world if you don't have Ayaka Masaki or Sohee Ham. Like, in automatic, they're most likely not going to get either of those anytime soon because they're locked up with, RIZIN and one championship. So it's just, it's such a weird thing, a weird concept. And we got to consider, too, like, another reason I don't think it would happen soon, anyways, like, they're talking about cutting fighters. I don't think they'll bring in a whole division. Right? Like,
Well, I think
of course.
maybe they would give the thought of a new division because they're probably thinking, well, featherweight's done soon.
Right.
So
But that's only like 4 people.
well, exactly. So I mean, so they would be open to maybe bringing in a new women's division to take over for the featherweight division. So
Right.
Waleed said Tisha, Carla, and Watterson will be killers at atom weight. Yeah, Carla would be really good. She would be really good. Tisha she's bulky though. She
could make it. She could drop some muscle mass. She barely cuts any weight as is.
I think she could, but she would be a bigger one, not size wise, not like height, but like as mass. She would be one of the bigger atom weights. Watterson would be perfect. I've said this for so long.
A former atomweight champ.
Yeah, she would be the perfect UFC atom weight. She incredibly marketable. She's loved by so many. She's a mom. She's hot. She's a former atomweight champion, like what you just said. She's the perfect atomweight for the UFC. They would probably put her in the first championship fight. They would be stupid not to.
That's the thing, right? Is like I see Steven mentioned, was it Steven in here?
Loma.
Steven mentions Loma versus Watterson.
Yeah.
Loma, the only reason that Loma isn't at atomweight right now is because she's in the UFC and they don't have atomweight. Like, and she's absolutely much better fit for atomweight and everything. As I've said in the past, I don't think she's going to go far in strawweight, unfortunately, just because of the size and stylistically, I don't think it's going to work out well for her. So atomweight would be tremendous for her. And the thing about it though is like, yes, they could start out the division. People are going to drop down. Like you can name off 6 people because I named them off in that video too that I mentioned. But of course, Isha, Carla, Watterson. There's 3. Yeah. Maybe Panay, who has yet to be released, and I'm assuming her suspension's going to be ending here soon. We'll see what happens there. That's maybe a wishful thinking one. But then Loma, Hannah Cyphers is still around. Hannah Cyphers is still on the roster. Maybe she gets to stick around
not for long.
if they give her an atomweight division to play in. So there would be 100% some people that would drop down and add to any potential new stuff and all that, and new matchups and everything. But
Angela Hill,
maybe I don't know about. Yeah, she might maybe, who knows.
She'll fight anyone anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't want to see, if they do eventually start the division, I don't want the title fight to be between 2 people who are coming down from strawweight. We got to have one who has been fighting at atomweight in there, right? So that's kind of, I don't want to see like not a cyborg, a Holman GDR thing at featherweight again. That would be kind of the wrong start to it.
Yes,
so.
I agree. Pro wrestling is real and MMA is fake. Yep.
Of course. Good to see Juan chiming in with the hard-hitting comments. The truth that people don't want to know about.
Yeah. Everybody loves pro wrestling and hates MMA.
Yes.
We should turn this into a podcast about the women wrestlers.
Yeah. We're about to do that right now. We're changing our awards to the pro wrestling.
The Sasha Banks show.
The Sasha Banks show. All right, but I mean, shall we get into it, man? Is it time
Let's go.
Hand out some awards. The 2020 WMMA Today Awards. The whole reason that we are dressed up as we are, you guys. 50 minutes in.
We are
Kept you
dressed
waiting.
up for this occasion. Well,
Yes, we are.
one of us is. I'm dressed up to go to bed.
Yeah. All right. Let's kick it off. Should we go? I was thinking about this. I have this in order from maybe biggest awards to, I don't want to say the least important, but I have it in that order where if you think about like the Oscars or the Academy Awards, they usually go opposite where they save the best movie for
The
last.
best for last, right? Yeah. Why
How
don't
should
we
we?
do
Let's
that?
figure it out on the spot. Save the best for last.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So
I think
then,
so.
in that case, we will start out with. In that case, we will start out with the feel good moment of 2020.
So that goes to Chris Cyborg, where she departed the UFC to become MMA's first Grand Slam champion in Bellator. In her Bellator debut, where she beat Julia Budd for the 145 title. That was amazing. Amazing. What a great moment for her and for Bellator to say "fuck you, UFC."
Yeah, when you pointed this out, because I really was having trouble even thinking about this. Like, I'll just let Steve decide this award. I'm really blanking on stuff, and no, I think it's definitely a good choice. And having been there, this was the last MMA event that I attended, unfortunately, because of everything that's happened. But almost a full year now. I was there for that, and just it was crazy in that building and seeing the emotion come out of her and everything, then talking about it afterwards. It was just a big story going into it, into the whole fight and everything, about how she was just really the history of disrespect between her and like Dana White, and just all the nonsense to get to the UFC in the first place, and then finally getting there, and how everything panned out. Just a wild ride, and then to essentially come back home in a sense to promotion that Scott Coker is
Yeah.
running, like Strikeforce back in the day, and win the title in her first fight against the second best featherweight of all time, who had been undefeated since their like second fight years ago. It's all culminated perfectly for her in what was essentially a shutout. She did not have much trouble with Julia Budd, which was incredibly impressive. So I think
She had
this
no
was a
trouble
good.
at all. Crazy, man. That was wild. Like she made Julia Budd look like she was not a
Not the
champion.
champion. Yeah.
Yeah, that was friggin' wild, man. That was crazy. So Waleed said one of the GOATs, Invicta, Strikeforce, UFC, and Bellator champion. That is why we said the Grand Slam.
Bingo. Bingo, bingo. So, all right. One down, plenty more to go, everybody. Do you agree with the feel good moment? If you have any, of course, feel free to throw them in to the
Yeah.
chat. We're not going to change our minds. The award has been handed out, but we would love to hear
These
some
are the
other
awards.
moments.
But you can tell us
Yeah, of
what you
course.
think. Doesn't mean that you're right, and you're probably not.
Doesn't
If
mean
you
you're
don't-
right, but
if you
interaction
don't
is
agree with
everything.
us, you're not right.
All right, moving on. This one should probably be a slightly higher on the list, but this is just how they're ordered. You guys, all right? Don't crucify me. Here we are. BMF of the year, or should it be the lady BMF? I just have it as BMF, but there it is.
It should be the
Congratulations.
Lady BMF. Congratulations to Angela Hill, who in a crazy time of in MMA, and a crazy time in the world in general, she took fights like no other. She is the female Donald Cerrone. She might be better than Jorge Masvidal. She is the BMF of the year. Congratulations, Angela Hill.
Congratulations to Angela Hill indeed. 4 fights in 2020, more than any other champion,
Wild.
any other female champion in the entire sport.
Mhm.
Not just UFC. Of course, this isn't just a UFC specific award show. So, yeah, big stuff from Angela Hill. I mean, yes, she went 2-2. She lost her last two fights. You know, her last two recent fights against Michelle Waterson and Claudia Gadelia. But the thing is, like, her stock did not drop at all from those fights. You know, arguably won both of them. Actually, you know, they arguably should have went in her favor.
She definitely should have beat Gadelia. She for sure should have won that fight. Michelle Waterson was, I mean, like what we talked about when after it actually happened the following week. It was kind of just one of those fights where if they go to Waterson, they go to Waterson. If they go to Hill, it's okay. You know, I mean, it would have been fine either way. It would have been fine either way. I personally had Angela Hill winning that fight. In my mind, in my eyes, she should be 4-0 in 2020, which is pretty fucking wild. And that is why she's the BMF of the year to me.
And yeah, even not going undefeated, even having these losses, you know, still a very good year because of those even, you know, the performances in the losses, they were not bad. You know, she didn't look terrible, of course, too close enough for her to, you know, get the losses in them and everything, but still very good performances and competing 4 times, putting on 4 great performances. You know, did not hurt her going forward. I don't think so.
No.
Good stuff.
She's getting better and better as she goes. She really is one of the joys to fight or to watch fight. I've really grown to love to watch her fight. And yeah, okay, so Wally, Hannah Cyphers is not the real BMF.
Waleed's having fun tonight.
Yeah, Wally's getting kind of wild, which is fine because I like wild. But when you say Hannah Cyphers is the real BMF, you're just being crazy.
He's having fun with it.
I know.
I like this shout out from Steven. Here.
Yes.
Of course, friend of the show.
To Jessica Rose Clark, although only fighting once, she had a badass performance, was relentless, tore her ACL too. Yeah. Not really BMF type of.
That was a performance of the year nominee, no doubt. We didn't do that as an award, but for sure, right? So just a complete beatdown and the best performance of her career. So, of course, always happy to give shout outs to Jessie Jess. If you're watching, Jess, at some point, probably not live, but as I think we can see the 3 people.
In again.
She pops in. You say her name. She knows exactly what happened last time.
Yeah, she has like these antennas where she hears her name. She just pops up. That would be cool.
The Jessie Jess signal.
I can do that.
It up.
She knew. Look, she knew that we were going to talk about her. Obviously, she just wanted to come in and say say what she wanted to say and fucking dip. It would have been nice if
she can do whatever she wants.
If we knew, and we can get her on video at least.
I know it would have been a good idea to invite her, but maybe next time. Maybe next time. All right, rolling along to Division of the Year, everybody. I feel like this was probably the easiest one, the easiest award to decide.
We agreed on this one very fast. We didn't agree on all of them. We both gave in to each other a little bit. We definitely agreed on this one very, very quickly.
Yep. All right. So I'm sure you guys know already what it is, but Division of the Year, 115 pounds, the strawweight division.
Yeah. They're the best female division in the world. Just
on fire. There's almost no bad matchups you can make. Like it's pretty nuts. You look at what was it, Cyphers and Whitmire that we talked about last week. That's like the bottom. One of the few. One of the very few. No disrespect to them, but like.
No, I mean we talked about that fight when they made it or whatever. One or both will get cut after that fight.
Yeah.
Depending on the fight, if it's a bad fight from the two of them, they should both be cut.
Yeah, I think loser most likely, and especially especially if it's ciphers. As much as I am a defender of Hannah ciphers, but we're just getting a little bit fat past the point of no return with her, which is what it is. But that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing the greatness of this division overall, which it very much is that. So many possible, all the contenders, so many names that can possibly be champion one day, like some that aren't even ranked yet. Like, this division is so good. It's just so exciting. Can't really go wrong.
Okay, so yeah, so Steven said strawweight is peak women's MMA. Cyphers versus Dern is the best fight to make. That's why I started laughing. I was like, the fuck will determine
happened.
champ, in my opinion. And then he put after I started laughing, he put not Dern. I meant to say Marcos was trolling. So he did a bad job of trolling, but then he recovered with Marcos.
Yeah, sure. Sure, I'll take it. I'll take a random fight that doesn't see her against a killer, and her next one she could use that. But,
yeah, she might not be in the UFC.
Yeah, unfortunately that run might be coming to an end, but strawweight, plenty of goodness there. Stamina pointing out.
You guys are being really difficult. The last Ashley Yoder fight was the worst 115 fight in years. Aside from that, damn near all of them have been high level.
That's a compliment I think he's giving. He's giving a compliment.
He gave a half-ass compliment. He threw a shot at poor little Ashley Yoder.
I don't even that was the Granger one? Yeah, that was wasn't great. It wasn't great. I don't know. Moving on. Congrats to the strawweights. Phenomenal division overall. And very, very excited for this upcoming year. And hey, just before we move on, I don't know, Steve, if you watched any or heard anything about Dana White's fan Q&A he did yesterday, but I watched it and he gave us an update on Tatiana, who apparently is doing well and hoping to fight soon.
That's hype, dude. Man,
that's
cannot wait. Need to see her in 2021 at least one time. Man, at least one time. I know that she's like itching to get in there. But yeah, it's nice to hear Dana White mention her name. I mean, of course, it was a question to him from a fan, but I mean, he didn't have to necessarily take that question. He picked and chose the questions that he wanted, or they
totally had the PR person scope.
Yeah, somebody was picking and choosing the questions that he was answering, which is it. That's what it is.
To be expected.
Yeah, that's what it is with the UFC. They don't like to be surprised with some craziness. They don't like that at all. That's why I can never be in John Morgan's position. I would be like, hey, Dana, fuck you. Like right from the jump. Like,
not even a question. Just fuck you.
Hey, fuck you, Dana. Fuck you, Dana.
Oh man, when you said that, I immediately imagined John doing that, and like, just like ripping off his blue like shirt and having like a wife beater under it.
Fuck you, Dana. We're done. He's such a sweetheart.
He is a very nice man. I've met him a couple times.
Yeah, he's cool. He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah,
he gets so much hate. I hate it because they make fun of him because of his weight, because of his blue shirt. Like, people are talking about his blue shirt. The guy with the blue shirt. Yeah, he does that on purpose. You fucks. He does that on purpose.
Gets him recognized. Yeah.
What's your problem?
Shout out to John Morgan, everybody. Man of the people. No ego for how popular he is. It's pretty impressive.
Dude, like none at all. People literally have a shot with you.
Yeah, very cool guy. Very cool guy. And before we move on, like the reason that he goes first all the time, it's out of respect. Like that's not something that anybody sets up. It's just like, all right, we know that we let John go first, and he's always like, you guys could go first if you want. Like, go ahead and ask. But
Yeah,
he's always.
he's literally said, I don't have to go first. I mean, I don't necessarily.
I've almost wanted to cut him off a couple times, but I'm like, nah, I don't care that much. I'm sure he won't ask what I'm thinking anyway. So
No, because
nice.
he doesn't throw those hard balls. He doesn't throw the curves to Dana White.
Yeah.
That's why he is where he is. I mean, Brett Okamoto's the same.
A little bit different in situations, but we won't get into that. All right, now it is.
I'm not a fan of Brett.
He's all right. He's Brett Okamoto.
John Morgan's John Morgan. What?
Yep, this is true.
What does that even mean? Brett Okamoto's Brett Okamoto.
I've never had any bad interactions with Brett, honestly. I don't really had no interactions with Brett, but he just does his thing. Let's leave it at that.
No interaction with Brett.
Yeah, got nothing real to say.
Fuck that guy. He doesn't interact with me.
Yeah, he doesn't interact with a lot of people, honestly. Like if you see
Like
him
literally nobody. Like literally nobody other than ESPN people.
Yeah, kind of a lone wolf, but hey, working out for him. So all right, time for what everybody's been waiting for. Steve's most marketable fighter of 2020.
This was
a
so
very hard choice for him to make.
So hard. Like really, really hard. It got really hard. Going through the pictures and stuff on social media and like looking at social media posts from these women, it was just so hard for a long time. So the most marketable fighter of the year goes to show her.
Oh, here we are.
Show the picture of her. Oh.
Is it up?
Valerie Loretta! That's a terrible picture of her. That doesn't look like Valerie Loretta at all. I was expecting a picture of her on the beach.
You weren't specific, all right? I'm running the show here.
The worst picture of her that you can... What? I'm upset.
Congratulations to Valerie.
Congratulations, Valerie. You're the most marketable fighter of 2020. And no,
who did this come down to, Steve? I know you did a poll.
It is not Hebus. Yes, I did a poll, and actually, Loretta won, but then Paige Van Zandt came in second, and third was who's third? Oh, Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez right. Third, and then Amanda Hebus came in fourth. So, yeah, I thought that Paige wouldn't be as high because people love to hate on Paige, but again, these are dudes that were in the poll. I got a lot of votes, and Valerie Loretta won by I think 47% of the vote. So she took almost half of the votes. But I just took that into account when I gave this award. I looked at her social media and stuff throughout the year and all that. I went through the four of them. Paige Van Zandt has a ton of clicks, so many clicks. But again, that has a lot to do with Austin Vanderford being in the pictures with her and stuff. They were wild in this year. They were doing nude photos without showing anything, and it was pretty awesome to see. They were cool pics, but Valerie Loretta has a lot of assets, and she shows them, and she is the most marketable fighter of the year. and I think she'll be back for many years to come because she's super young and she's super talented and she's super beautiful and hot, and she'll be around forever.
So, gotta mention this to Steven here because I believe this is Steven's first time at least checking in live, unless I'm forgetting because we've done 31 shows now. But
I think Steven's been
Steven,
here before.
yeah, maybe, but it's got a bit of an inside joke. Marketable equals hot on the Steve slang, so that's pretty much what this is. I totally like your reasoning for Amanda Hebus, a good choice. But whoops. If I'm gonna, I usually just let Steve, take away. I'll let him do his thing when it comes to the marketability talk. But if I could chime in on the award here, I think it's probably a good pick, just in terms of if you look at Valerie Loreda in her career so far, has been about 90% marketability has been off of that. Like she hasn't fought anybody notable yet. Yes, she has skills. Is she amazing? No, not yet. She still has a whole lot of work to do, very green, but in the grand scheme of things, she is absolutely draws to Bellator for multiple reasons. So she's very marketable. So she's a good pick, is what I'm getting at here. And
You look at Bellator's YouTube page and stuff, and they put Valerie Loreda stuff up. It goes wild. People like this girl because of how she looks. She's not the better fighter. She's not gonna beat Amanda Hebus in a fight. She won't. But as far as marketability, she wins this award for sure. Like there's no doubt that she wins this award. When we first started talking about this and like throwing it out there, we joked about the marketability thing, but then like I kept saying it every week, and then it became a thing. Valerie Loreda is the most marketable female fighter that there is in MMA.
Yeah, I think it's practically a fact, all things considered, at this stage.
Other than Betch.
Other than Betch, yes,
of course,
yeah,
of course.
This has been, I think this show has gone fantastically so far. I just want to say,
Waleed said, "Why did you have a bare knuckle?"
Good point.
Well,
disqualified Paige.
Yeah, I had her because
she technically hasn't fought yet in bare knuckle. So
yeah, she hasn't fought in bare
loophole.
knuckle yet. And because she's married to an MMA fighter, and she shows she's naked.
She shows her naked.
Yeah, she's naked in her pictures on Instagram and stuff.
All right. Yes, we can definitely thank Stamina. It was essentially his idea.
It was his idea. Thank you, Stamina. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate you coming every single week. I hope you're feeling better. You were sick last week.
That's right.
I hope you feel better this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think he showed up a little bit later too. So he was on time pretty early this time. So I'm hoping, but of course he will let us know. So all right, guys, moving on to a pretty unique category, and I didn't expect it when Steve showed me the list and the ideas when we're organizing and everything. I wasn't sure how to approach it and like who would come to mind, because of course, as we are the WMMA Today Awards and focusing on only the women, I was thinking like, would this be somebody who specifically or is really in tune with like the women's scene and providing content about the women? I was like, oh, well, then I guess I'm going to win an award on my own show. But then, he presented the pick for it, and I was like, okay, that's a very good choice. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, everybody's favorite, really, I don't know if anybody hates this person, but
the blonde bombshell,
former atomweight, Miss Lorsenko is our media person of the year.
Yes. Look at her. Okay, so she does the Contender Series, she does Invicta, and she went to Fight Island. Like she's been everywhere, man. She has been everywhere. Lorsenko should be doing live commentating next to John Anik.
That's her goal.
Yeah, I mean, and she should be. She should be there. She does it all. She does literally everything. She's fucking hilarious. She's cool. Like she just she could be a bitch to the people who are stupid and they're assholes.
All the creeps. You don't want to creep on Laura. She'll call you out.
Yes, all the creepers. She will definitely call you out. But aside from that, she does a great job on the Contender Series. As you can see the picture there, she does the interviews, and then she does the announcing in the cage of the winner and all that. And then at Invicta, she does the same, and she does commentating for Invicta. And then at Fight Island, she did all of the interviews and stuff. So she had a kick-ass 2020, and she's only getting better.
Yeah, all over the place, and very, very talented in all of these areas. Her commentary, she's not bad at all. She hasn't been doing it I think 2020 was the first time she started doing it, but she's quite good. She's not bad at all.
Was it at the Phoenix Rising series?
Yeah, with Jimmy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, that would have been late last year then, late 2019.
Yeah, that was the first time that we saw it was the Phoenix Rising series, Invicta's Phoenix Rising series with Jimmy Smith. Another one who's really good and should be on TV.
Yeah, but no problems with Laura Sanko getting the award here. She's just got a library in her head, very smart, does her research and everything.
Incredibly talented.
And she never really has any bad moments. Like you think about, if you want to think about people who, any slip ups or, I mean, of course, nobody's perfect. She's had moments where she might say something wrong, I'm sure, and everything, but we don't remember them because they're very few and far between and not crazy. Like, let's say Joe Rogan saying something silly, so, or something like that. But, it's, yeah, congratulations to Laura. Well deserved, I would say. And, Stamina calling out our criteria here.
How long even is the list for Media Person of the Year anyway? Is it pertaining to WMMA or must it be an actual real life woman? Well,
I like how he says actual real life.
I would assume that it would probably be an actual real life woman. Yes. I don't see any robots doing fucking interviews and shit. So yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was touching on, like the criteria at the beginning is like somebody who really covers it a lot, or somebody who is actually a female. Laura's literally both. She's literally both of those.
So you can do Helen Yee. You can do Farah from MMA Junkie. You can do who else can you do? Amy Kaplan. You can do Heidi Androl. You can do Megan O'Leary.
Fang. There's a couple. There's a good couple.
Heidi Fang is another one. You can do. There are
Fernanda Prachas.
Yes, Fernanda as well, formerly of MMA Junkie and The Athletic. Now
Fernanda is one of my favorite people to listen to.
Now who is she with now?
It's Fanbite, I think.
Fanbite, yes. Fanbite, yes. She had her, man, yes, you're right. Her podcast was fucking hilarious.
Well, just her writing too. She's really entertaining to read.
Yeah.
I just love her stuff.
Yep. So yeah, there are a lot of people that we can choose from. Stamina. Laura Sanko is the best of them.
I mean, just when you think about like the versatility and like well-roundedness, yeah, Laura was a very good pick for especially this year in particular. So
she was everywhere. Yeah.
And she's got a podcast now too. Another one actually, because she used to have the one with Megan.
Have you? It's with Kevin Iole.
Yeah, I'm not a
fan of Kevin Iole. I don't like him. It's weird, like that Isn't it
combination.
called like the Odd Couple or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the combination is really weird. Anything that Laura does is going to be good, but I'm not a fan of Kevin Isley. Like, I think that he sucks. To be perfectly honest, he was not a fan of MMA, and then all of a sudden he became a fan of MMA. Probably because he got press credentials and stuff like that from Yahoo, um, from Dana White. He speaks to Dana White, so uh, he's a boxing guy who went to MMA. He's he's not really that well versed in MMA. To me, I'm not a fan. Just not a fan. Laura Senko, I'm a fan of.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Kevin, he seems, very smart about boxing. I'm not the person to judge that, but I'm sure
He's
you
good
can
with
tell me
boxing.
yeah.
He's good with boxing. He was around for fucking Muhammad Ali. So yeah, I mean he's very good with boxing, and I think that he should have stuck with boxing, to be honest. But again, he's an MMA whatever he is. Um, he doesn't really write great articles for him. I don't know. Like I'm just not a fan. Not a fan. But again, this isn't about him. This is about Lorosenko being the media person of the year.
Yes. So, congratulations to Laura. She is awesome
Yep.
indeed. So, all right, you guys. Now we are to the big ones. Getting to the big ones here. The finishes of the year and then the fighters and fight of the year. Of course, you can have your ideas for those as we get headed into them, but we already touched on this one right off the top, you guys. Submission of the year. Take it away, Steve.
Yep. So we saw it just last week. Ayaka Hamasaki's first round head scissors of Mayu Yamamoto at RIZIN 26. Look at that beautiful picture. That was crazy, wild. We've seen some really good submissions this past year. This was the best, and we were lucky enough to see it just last week, a week ago today. Actually, no, is it today?
Yeah,
Tomorrow?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Something like that.
technically it would have been tomorrow
Yes,
morning for us.
tomorrow morning for us. Yeah, yeah, something like that. But yeah, we talked about this in the earlier in the show because of the recap, and there it is on the screen. That head scissors was pretty fucking badass, man.
Just phenomenal. This is the submission of the year in my books, regardless of gender, not just for our award show, but if we were including the men, I think it would be up there too. Of course, AJ McKee's was the other one I think that most people would have went with and everything. But the thing about this for me is like, yes, it's just to make a comparison, McKee's was similar to a guillotine. It was modified for sure, but like
Mhm.
something like a head scissors in these categories here with submission and knockout, it's the rarity of it. That's what really stands out to me, how rare something is. And like I have only seen a head scissors once before this ever, and it was actually by Yamasu, who fought on RIZIN 26 as well. Not on the same night, but in the past he has a head scissors submission, and so this is the only other time I've ever seen that. And bonus points, this was done in a fucking title fight, like this is a submission you would see in some weird, wacky, regional fight over in like Europe or something. But no, this was in a fight between two of the best fighters on the planet, one of the best fighters of all time, pulling it off against, a very top talented fighter as well. Like insanity. That just adds to the moment for me, and just such a unique submission that very likely not going to see for a very long time, if ever again. Like those are the things where you have to give on a submission like this the award. And I mean, the other crazy unique one that we saw, first time I'd ever seen it, was that Scorpion Crunch. Remember Chocolate Cova and Bellator earlier? That is absolutely a nominee and good mention, but prospect fight, so that kind of lowers it down a bit. And definitely worth a mention because of the uniqueness and rarity and all that. But everything about this one for me, just how it was set up, the speed of it, pretty much a no-brainer. I think it was awesome.
I don't know. Waleed is putting up a good mention. Lipsky's knee bar is my
A good
submission.
mention, yeah.
That was a scary submission. That was a really cool one, but that wasn't a head scissors though.
Yeah.
Like, I
That's
mean,
pretty much how you counter any other things. Like, yeah, but it
yeah,
wasn't a head scissors.
yeah, but it wasn't a head scissors. So, I mean, it doesn't really match up. It doesn't head scissors, knee
Yeah.
bar, you know.
Like, that's the thing. That's pretty much what I'm getting at, right? Is we've seen knee bars before. And yes, Lipsky's was kind of a position we
Violent.
don't see often.
It
Very
was
violent, very gnarly looking and everything. But
Yeah.
we've seen knee bars before, and again, like I said, the stakes in this one unparalleled to any other submission that happened. Yeah, it's
And it
just,
came super fast.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
the first round. That's 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the first round.
Yep.
Super quick.
And Miyu wasn't. And look at this too. Like, most likely, if Miyu escaped that somehow, then she's probably getting armbarred right after. Like, because that's how good Hamasaki is. But that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there. She pulled it off, and just phenomenal. What a year that she had. What a fighter she is. Cannot say enough good things about Ayaka, as I said off the top. Fantastic stuff there. So congratulations to her, Ayaka Hamasaki.
That's really interesting take, actually, from Stamina. Lipsky's one was cool, but I deduct a point in my head for her basically having her corner tell her to do it. It wasn't instinctive.
I like that. I like that.
But I mean, again, that was part of the no fan thing where the fighters can hear their corners a lot better. We don't know. We don't know if she would have done that or not had there been 30,000 fans in the stadium. We don't know what would have happened. I guess yes, she probably did hear her corner because we heard her corner. So she definitely heard her corner.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't know. I can't really deduct a point from it. I'm just saying, like, the level of coolness, head scissors kind of beats everything almost.
Yeah, that's a very tough one to beat. It's a very tough one to beat. You just don't see that. You do not. That's literally like a pro wrestling move, except they're using it not as like a transition, right? Because that's something they use.
So like in pro wrestling, they're usually like up in the air. Their legs are up
Right.
in the air, and like they're flipping them and stuff. This wasn't no flipping going on here. She literally freaking had her shit in between her legs. Her head was in between her
Vice.
her thighs. Yeah. So she was smashing the fuck out of her fucking head, her face and her head. Like she was really like getting fucking torqued and like turned around and shit. She was fucked.
Not pleasant.
Like, well, no, poor thing was like in literal pain.
Yeah, very rough night for Miyu and Kyle, but
Yeah.
is what it is. Congratulations to Ayaka once again. Fantastic submission that will be, remembered for quite some time. I think that is fair to say. So, all right, moving along. Knockout time, everybody. What a good one we had. Not a whole lot of options this year, unfortunately, but some good stuff from what we did get, and ultimately came down to one that we saw. What was that, in November? Yeah, I think so. But either way, knockout of the year. Steve, take it away.
Okay, so Stephanie Galtmacher, first round punch of Caitlin Salmons at Invicta FC 43. She just laid this girl out. Take a look at the clip.
Bam. Kablam.
Boom. Just freaking laid her out. That was beastly.
You just don't see that. You do not see that very
So
often.
when we were talking about this award, I had said originally, Valentina Shevchenko, knockout of
Chikagian.
Chikagian, Caitlin Chikagian, but then Drake said, "Well, Geltmacher," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, Geltmacher's just fucking was amazing." You know, that was straight. That was straight power. But
Yeah.
Shevchenko's was awesome too, though.
It was a TKO though, 100 pound.
Yeah, but I mean, it came from the head kick.
Are you thinking of Jessica I?
Am I thinking of Jessica? I don't
Yeah,
know.
because Chukagian was the crucifix on the ground.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was really confused when you said that one. I was like,
So
sure?
am I thinking of Jessica then? Maybe I am.
That was
Was that
last year.
was that in 2019? Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, no, I'm not gonna knock it, but it's not my pick. Definitely not mine.
No, but I ended up agreeing anyway.
Oh, that is a very good pick, Wally. That was a weird one. That was a weird looking one. I'm kind of forget that was this year, but yeah, shout out to that's a good nomination. Megan
Oh,
versus popping in, stealing the spotlight there, Stamina.
Megan versus Norma Dumont was a good one as well.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
that one
And
was
then
more of what do you say? TKO should never win such awards. Yep, agreed. Um, yeah, Megan versus Norma. That's a good shout. That one was more of like the precision of it. Of course, it was a hard shot. Megan only throws hard shots, but a very interesting place, spot with that one. With Geltmacher, it's both. Like just a big looping bomb that drops salmons, and
yeah,
just beautiful to see. And Stephanie Geltmacher, just man, what a performance from her! What a prospect to watch. Been
power.
high on her for a bit. That was a hell of a performance from her, and the wrestler showing those hands, a female Johnny Hendricks, maybe, hopefully without the drop off. So that would be
She's
that
a
would
tough
be
power, man.
very, very scary to see her develop. And I mean, not surprising with her stature and all, but a big, big win, big knockout. Great stuff from Stephanie Geltmacher, and congratulations to her for the knockout of 2020.
Big
Very,
award.
very excited to see what's next for her. She is fantastic. So, all right. Now, time for Breakout Fighter of the Year, everybody. This one was a little bit difficult to. Oh, that was a very good one too, Waleed. I like that. He's bringing up the good picks here. Meng Bo's knockout that we saw in one. That girl is definitely somebody to watch, as we touched on that week. Was that this year? Was the
Dude,
Cachoeira one
yeah,
this
it's
year?
pretty crazy. Like 2020 has been kind of a jumbled, like
Yeah.
you get all confused about shit. And I do think that was this year.
Might have been. We might have admittedly missed some, but it's too late now. These are good. These are good to mention them though. I like this. Meng Bo, yeah, that one was very awesome. Glad
Yeah.
you brought that up, Waleed. Shout out to Meng. Yeah, the bus driver uppercut. Great way to label that one. Stamina. That's excellent.
So Simon said was Cachoeira's best driver uppercut of Dobson last year as well. Yes, it was 2020, I think.
Did you look it up? Let's see.
No, but I'm
Pretty
assuming
sure.
2020.
I'll get to the bottom of this
Didn't
real.
Dobson get finished in 2020?
Oh, that was February actually. So that was this year. Yeah, okay. So yeah, good nomination, I would say that one is, but all right, too
But
late.
don't forget
Stephanie Geltmacher, still good stuff there. And
We're not going to change our picks.
yeah, too late now.
Yeah.
Too late now. Good mentions though, all fantastic ones. And breakout fighter of the year. This was a tough one to pick. A lot of good options, but
Yeah.
Is what it is. The one and only Zhao Nanyan, everybody.
Yeah.
Breakout fighter of the year.
She had a great 2020. I think that a lot of people would say Amanda Hebus, but you and I agree that she kind of broke out in 2019 in like November when she beat Mackenzie Dern.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had been doing this last year, Amanda Hebus would have won this award last year.
Yeah. Yeah, the timing of that, I think, kind of gets a little bit forgotten for people because that was the start of it. That was that was her first fight back after,
She
that little
shouldn't
break
beat
she had.
Mackenzie Dern. Like I mean, she should have beat her. Obviously, she should have beat her. She did beat her, but like in the minds of people, she shouldn't beat Mackenzie Dern. And she did. And then that's when like her when she started getting a fan base. They started taking notice, and that's why she's marketable. She's
Full
incredibly
circle.
cute. She's incredibly cute, and she does
She's
the
hilarious.
hello thing, and all all that shit. But she didn't win this year. Zhao Nan Yan won.
Shout on. Yeah. I mean, this is really when you think about it, probably makes the most sense because you look at who climbed the rankings the farthest, like who had the biggest jump up from everything to start things off. Xiao
Yeah,
Nan is ranked. I think she's 3 now. She's in the top 4 at least.
she's number 3
Yeah, started out the year.
at like 15
I
or something like that.
Yeah, she might not have even been ranked until that Carolina win, which is pretty ridiculous that it took that long. But Zhao Nan Yan, excuse me. Either way, honestly, depending on where you are in the world, who you're speaking to, 6 fights in a row that she has won inside the UFC now. The longest streak, I'm not currently, but among in the strawweight division, something like that, right? So I mean, she's just killing. And then this year took out, her 2 most notable opponents yet, 2 former title challengers in spectacular fashion. Just looking so good. Cannot wait to see what is next for her in 2021. I would imagine a title shot, depending on,
Dude,
you
she's
know,
right there. She's
right
right
there,
there.
right on the cusp.
So close. I mean, who she has in front of her, ahead of her, number 2 is Joanna.
Mhm.
Number 1 is Rose Namajunas, who probably will be getting the title shot. I mean, we assume that she will be getting the title shot at some point, right? I mean, 2020, 2021, Rose Namajunas
Good
uh,
timing for the Zhao Nan train, baby.
versus John Wiley. That
Yeah,
should happen.
yeah. In China, the China super fight would be massive, and what a matchup it would
Could you
be.
imagine? Yeah, can you imagine if they were to fight in China?
Oh, has to, has to happen, has to happen.
I'm
But
assuming that's what the UFC is really wants.
oh yeah, oh yeah, would be would be absolutely. It'd be pretty moronic to not do that. If they have the choice. And I don't expect that they wouldn't do that. Both of the fighters want that. Like, why would you even want to make them? They wouldn't want to travel out of their country if they don't have to, to fight each other. Like, it all makes too much sense, right? But it is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit since, of course, Carla and Rose are more in the talks at the moment, which is, probably, it's justifiable as well as logistic because of the fact that they wouldn't have this. They wouldn't go to do a fight card at the moment. It seems for whatever reasons, maybe, who knows, whatever. Coronavirus and everything is still a thing, but yeah, lots of roadblocks.
Still very
He
much a thing.
still very much a thing, unfortunately. Zhao Nanyan, just what a fighter. So, and what a year that she did have. Good stuff. Of course, only 2 fights, but two great performances and a top
But
ranked competitor now.
the breakout came, I think, solely because of her rankings. She went from, like Drake said, I think that she was ranked number 15. I don't know. But
She was definitely way back there, yeah.
yeah, she's all the way at number 3 now in the division that we said is the best division in the world.
Hmm. Yep. So, congratulations to Zhao Nanyan. Expecting big things. Y'all know I've been riding this train for days now, longer than. So very excited for 2021 to see what's in store. Hopefully not long till we see her back and everything, but definitely breakout fighter of 2020. And as we move along, and speaking about Chinese athletes, It is time for the fight of the year. This one is absolutely no secret whatsoever. Um, you know what it is.
Yeah. Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk, they just went nuts. Look at that picture.
That is
They're
one of my favorite MMA pictures ever.
they're
That's the
fucking
both going for punches.
yeah.
Just
They're
the
beat up.
excellent.
They're beat up. That picture right there doesn't show like how beat up Joanna's face was. If you remember, she looked
No,
like
it does not.
she looked like an alien. Like she did not look like Joanna after that fight. She was all fucking puffy. She looked like what's his name?
Star Trek guy.
No, hey you guys,
Oh, from the Goonies.
from the Goonies. Yes, what's his name though?
Sloth, is that it?
Sloth. Yeah, Sloth. She looked like Sloth. Like she was fucked up, dude. But again, look at Wei Li. Like her face is beat up. She's bloody. She could have lost that fight, and I mean it would have been okay.
Yeah, it was a very competitive, close fight, awesome fight, bell to bell action, nonstop chaos. It was everything you
Man,
absolutely hope for in not only a title fight, but a fight, I guess, right? In a striking matchup,
yeah,
because that's predominantly what it was. And, that was kind of the thing when, I've been thinking about the fight of the year overall, not just the women and everything, but the best fights for me are always the ones that go all over the place, right? So for everybody in the overall scheme of things in the fight of the year, it came down to this one, I think, mostly, and then Figueiredo versus Moreno, of course, which that fight I think definitely embodied more of every element of MMA or more elements, right? It went to the ground. We saw, it just went all over the place a little bit more in terms of just being a striking affair. But the thing about Weili versus Joanna is that it was just the highest degree of striking and just the entire time. Like you look at Moreno and Figueiredo, and then even you can look at Hooker Poirier. They didn't gas out necessarily, but towards the end, like in round 5, they were
they were so
clearly
strong.
slower. They were
Yeah,
clearly slower, but Whaley and Joanna, they
they were
were just about the same, if not more energized in the 5th round. It was
wild.
absolutely ridiculous. And I actually did rewatch this fight. I think it was last week, and there were actually a little bit more I don't want to say exchanges, but moments of grappling that I didn't really remember, like takedown attempts from Weili, where she
From
actually did.
Wembley.
She
Yeah,
hit one or two, and Joanna's phenomenal at getting right back up to her feet. So it didn't last there or anything, but some clinching, some good clinch exchanges against the cage. Like it had a bit more than I remembered because we just remember these phenomenal, striking exchanges that they had throughout a full 25 minutes, right? So it was just too good, man. Just too consistently high level of a fight, and one of the best fights of all time. Not just of this year, of whatever the gender. It was simply one of the greatest displays of mixed martial arts that we have ever seen. And this was, yeah. I mean, we said the easiest choice of the awards was the division of the year. This was actually probably the
this
easier
was
one.
probably the easiest one.
I mean,
I mean,
those were the top two, but
because we had been talking about this fight almost
since
every
it
show.
happened in
Like,
March.
yeah, we've been talking about this fight almost every show. It gets brought up all the time in on social media, on Twitter and stuff. This fight gets brought up all of the time. This fight was, to me, the fight of the year, not just the women's fight of the year. This fight was the fight of the year. I loved Poirier and Hooker. I loved Figueredo and Moreno. Those were great fights. But like you said, these girls, they didn't stop for 25 minutes. It just went on and on and on and on and on. It just kept on going. Like it was wild, man.
Beautiful chaos. That is what is it? Controlled chaos,
Controlled chaos.
beautiful violence. All these descriptions that you could give it. It was
Beautiful
too
violence for sure. It was definitely beautiful
madness,
violence, man.
madness, madness, madness. So congratulations to them. Everybody knew that this one was coming from everybody who's doing award shows, not just us. This was pretty
Yeah.
unanimous. I think at least I haven't seen anybody give it to a different fight. So, yep,
Yeah.
good deal.
I agree.
Good deal. So, all right, you guys, we have reached the climax of the awards, the big kibosh, as Michael Schiavello would say, the fighter of the year. There can only be one. Who is it going to be? Well, they already got an award to actually start off the awards. So we are circling back to the fighter of 2020. That was quite a big hint if you have a good memory. Fighter of the year, Chris Cyborg, the Bellator champion.
Yes. Chris Cyborg, amazing 2020. Again, she look at that. Love that picture, man. Her holding up the 4 titles. Just amazing. Like she's just done amazing things in her career. She she's only getting better.
It was kind of funny. It was kind of funny when, because I was there. This picture was taken at the Fighter Hotel, so it was all after the fights had ended, and we were all after partying back when we could party and everything. So the bar's like half in the lobby and everything, and this is a big mural. And I remember I was drinking, getting a drink or whatever, and I come back to the seat or whatever, and I look over like, what is she doing over there? I was like, oh my gosh, she's got all of her belts. It's like, it was kind of funny to see. Oh, there's Cyborg just holding all of her belts, taking a picture.
All 4 of them. She
I was like,
she
holy
brought
shit.
them with her.
Yeah, I know. He brought them all.
Yeah.
So funny to the hotel and everything. Planned it out perfectly, and it couldn't have went any better. Chris Cyborg, yeah, the fighter of 2020, man. This was, for me, it was pretty much a coin flip between her and Ayaka Hamasaki, as we've touched on plenty throughout this episode. So I don't think I need to give too much more detail aside from, noting the fact that both of them had 2 victories this year. 2 phenomenal finishes. Ayaka had the Tomo Mesawa Kimura in round 2. Excellent fight and performance. And then the amazing submission of the year, which made it very close. But in the case of Cyborg, as we said, the incredible performance against Julia Budd, who had gone, unbeaten for so long and been established herself as the second best featherweight, all that. And then to beat Arlene Blanco as easily as she did somebody who had only lost to Julia Budd in the last so many fights and everything. Just dominance from both of these ladies, and Cyborg in particular. The reason that I end up like edging it to her over Hamasaki is just that the level of competition, the opponents slightly better, and I think it's because Tomo, perennial, atomweight top 15 opponent, but she's always been more around like the 15 to 10 range, and she was when that fight happened as well. But when you look at Budd and Blanco, they're top 5. It was 2, and what Blanco is like 4, top 5 fighters. So just in terms of who was beaten was really the only thing that came down to it. I think that Hamasaki's finishes and performances I really enjoyed better and thought were more impressive, but Cyborg's were excellent as well, but better, slightly, ever so slightly better opponents. Not mad at either getting the nod in this case, but in a year where the champions in particular really weren't able to fight very much. Like Whaley only had 1 fight, Nunes only had 1 fight. Nunes was supposed to have 2 fights, but unfortunately missed out on that one. It really came down to just Cyborg and Hamasaki, at least for me. If you look outside of champions, Lauren Murphy did have a very good year, 3-0. Mackenzie Dern also is 3-0.
That was my pick.
That was a good one to throw in.
That was my original pick. She was 4-0 this year.
3. It was 3.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so she was 3-0 this year. But yeah, she was my pick originally. But then I started thinking like Chris Cyborg. She had an amazing year.
Yeah.
Title fights, a big win against Julia Budd, who, I mean, she squashed Julia Budd, and nobody saw that coming like that.
Yeah.
I think we picked, pretty sure we both picked Cyborg, right? To win that fight.
I actually went with Julia. I will admit that I was wrong in that one, but I just had a feeling. and it was way off.
Yeah, yeah. There was no way that I was going against Cyborg in that fight. There was no way that I was going with Cyborg against Cyborg. It's hard to go against her against anybody other than maybe Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much proven to be the only person. And a good point by Waleed. I did want to mention Valentina did also. She was the only other champion that did have two fights or two title defenses specifically. Well, I guess technically the only one to do two title defenses because Cyborg won the title and then defended, and then Hamasaki non-title fight and then won the title. So yeah, two title defenses for Valentina. Just her wins just weren't as impressive to me. It was kind of a typical Chukagian, very good. It's a good win. I mean, both Maya and Chukagian are very good wins, but performance-wise and everything, I don't think they were really on the same level of what we saw from Hamasaki and Cyborg. So.
Especially the way that Cyborg handled Julia Budd.
Yeah, exactly. Just ferociousness, a great vintage Cyborg performance for the most part with those new added wrinkles that she's showing every fight. So, and I mean, she got her first submission ever against Blanco. Like,
yeah,
crazy,
wild.
So yeah, I mean, fighter of the year, Cyborg. I don't think there should be too much debate about it. I mean, aside from what we have already discussed, but congratulations to her. She deserves it. I mean, just look at the fucking picture. She's got all these belts now. So, yeah,
Crazy.
Man.
What a great year 2020 was for MMA. Like it was full steam ahead all the way up until March. We saw Whaley and Joanna fight, and then COVID hit. Things got wild with that. We didn't know when we were going to see MMA again, and then the UFC came back. And then slowly but surely, other MMA promotions came back sometime in the summertime. It was about the summertime when all the other promotions started kicking off. So, I mean, 2020 was a weird year, as it was for everybody in the world. Sports were affected in so many different ways. MMA kept going. Unfortunately for like PFL, they didn't keep going, but Bellator did, LFA did, ONE did, RIZIN did, the UFC obviously did. They jumped back and forth from Jacksonville to Vegas to Fight Island, back to Vegas, back to Fight Island. I mean, it was crazy what the UFC ended up doing. We got to say props to the UFC, props to Dana White, props to all the matchmakers for a hell of a 2020. They gave us great fucking fights. I hate giving the UFC props. I hate it because there are so many reasons.
Right.
There are so many reasons, but props to the UFC for giving us great fucking fights.
Yeah,
in a year that was fucked.
Yep, very well put right there. I mean, just as evidenced by everything we just talked about, a lot of good moments, a lot of good things to build off of and go forward. Not just in MMA, but overall, hopefully learning experiences and everything. But what a ride as we get ready for the new year. Yeah, good stuff, man. I think that we saw a lot of good, like we've been saying, but ready to move on, ready to keep going, and get back to how things were. This award show just reminded me with these Cyborg matches of the fucking when things were normal.
We have, I think, as they get rolling with the vaccinations, we'll slowly get going with normalcy, a little bit of normalcy. I don't know about live events, especially here in the United States. Mm, you know,
I mean, depending on where you go, look at like fucking
well,
Texas
Texas,
and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Texas had they
Well, man, that boxing event that I was at, that was
yeah
actually that was like the first big one.
of the year. For
Yeah, like
boxing.
there were 10,000 people in there.
It's a lot of people.
10,000.
That's a lot of people. I mean,
That place was loaded, man.
for what's going on in the world. It's a
Let me
lot of
see
people.
if I can pull up the video that I took of when the knockout happened because it sounded like it was packed in there. It was
Dude,
pretty.
boxing gets pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
We've been to some really fun events, boxing events. Boxing fans are fun. I love boxing.
I wonder if the audio will work on this, but I'm gonna here. Let me do the screen. I mean, you can also just see, but it was crazy in there. It was pretty crazy in there. Oh, hold on. That was in October.
Yeah, that was Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah. That was wild. That was very wild, and it felt like nothing crazy was happening in the world. That's all I will say about that. It did not feel like a pandemic was going on. But all right, that'll wrap it up, you guys. I hope you enjoyed our award show special. I mean, if it was super duper, it was still special. I was gonna say if it was super duper special, we wouldn't have done our regular recaps and news. But you got to do that. Can't leave you hanging with that stuff, of course. Um, yeah, excited for the next year. Thank you so much, Stamina, as always, for joining us. Waleed, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Steven, for showing up. I know that you're gone now. I'm pretty sure if my math and memory is correct here, judging by the numbers and all that. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, for the awards and just the show in general. It means a lot.
Yes,
Can't wait to get back to some action. Next week, we will have a preview. We will have two previews, actually.
we're doing the two. We're doing two.
We're doing the two, and because the second event, Fight Island 8, will be on Wednesday, and it'll be
Morning,
early. It'll be quite early, so
morning
Steve
time
and
for
I.
us. 9 a.m. for you and me.
Yep, yay. We will be able to recap that on the day of, so we will see
Yep.
you for that. And of course, don't forget to follow us, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to the scrap. Underscore at Steve K underscore MMA. He's going by Gizmo at the moment. At the Scrap News on Twitter as well, and then the channel. I don't have anything coming out just yet in terms of interviews and everything, just booking early for the year, but I actually did just speak with Darina Mazduke, the viral sensation who knocked out the big fat man. I spoke to
Highly
her.
marketable, I think.
Highly marketable. Maybe she'll be on the ballot for 2021. We'll see. Steve's most marketable. Going to Bellator. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see. Check that out, though, you guys. It is on my Twitter right now. Darina Mazduke conversation is on bjpen.com, on my Twitter, and all that stuff. That is the only order of business at the moment for me, aside from all the video content that I've been doing over at the Body Locks YouTube channel. So check that out, youtube.com/the Body Lock. I think it's just it. Maybe the Body Lock MMA. Either way, you can find all my stuff in the playlist on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Drake Riggs. Yeah, I think that's about it for now. Still getting rolling in this new year. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Got nothing. No MMA inks planned?
No, not man. They're not. They're just not responding. It's weird. I'm not getting a lot of responses. I'm putting out messages. I'm
Yeah.
trying, but it's either I'm training. I don't have time. I'm training, or I can't right now. Hit me up in like 2 months
Right.
or something like that. Shit like that,
Yeah.
which is fine. I mean, I get it. It's all good.
Yep, fight our lives. What you gonna do? But
Yeah, no, exactly.
all right. Well,
I need a PR guy.
yeah. There you go. All right. Well, let's send it off then. Close this bad boy up.
Yeah, so thank you to everybody. We will see you guys next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern time. Stamina, don't know what time it is for you. 3-ish, 4-ish, 2-ish?
Early.
Yeah, early morning-ish. Um, but again, thank you everybody for tuning in every week. Thank you for tuning into the award show. Thank you for watching Drake in his little bow tie and suspenders. It was fun. Really enjoyed this. Next week we're doing bold predictions for
Yes.
2021. So
So
come check that out with us.
plenty of stuff next week. Yeah.
Yep. Recaps and bold predictions.
All right.
Until next week, we'll talk to y'all later. Thank you.
Peace.